Just about sailing, second one in October. We're just about in October, and just about in the same sense as just about sailing, just about in October. I think you understand the title of this channel by now. We've been promised 100 days of rain, and there's plenty of other jobs. I want to get the washboard finished off, so we'll have a look at how far I've got with that. And also need to get the mast down. It's been sitting on the top of the boat since I moved it. And also, hopefully we're going to get a few days of nice weather, so I'm going to see how far I can get with finishing off the patch after having done the fiberglass. If I actually peel the peel ply off and get this sorted. So let's start off and have a look at the hatch and then look at the mast coming off. This actually comes off. This actually comes off quite nicely with the scraper. I think the trick to this is you've got to press really hard. So hard that it's spinning around. Fabulous. So, the sun came out briefly, I moved everything outside, and then there was a massive great roll clap of thunder. So today is the 18th of October. We've had pretty much rain every single day since the beginning of October. I don't know if you can see that, but it's absolutely tipping down. So several days later, there was a bit of a gap in the rain, although it did start to drizzle, and felt it was time to finally take the mast off. So with this big yellow tractor, I've forgotten what it's called, is fantastic. I really wish I had one of those to play with, but it was very convenient. It was quite easy actually to get the mast down, but it's a small mast. It's only 31 feet, but when you're actually manhandling it like this, it seems very big. And you can see that the rope on the right hand side there is a little bit too low. That's because I tied a rubbish sort of knot. In fact, I just wound it around the tines of that lifter thing, but we decided that it was okay at a bit of an angle. So we did manage to get the mast down, and then got it stored safely away, because there is quite a lot of work that I want to do with the mast, particularly replacing the stainless rigging, standing rigging. So here is the mast. Hanging from a roof. It's really funny that it's not a big mast, and yet of course as soon as you start manhandling this and taking it down, it really does become quite tight. I might pull that up a little bit further, but and I'm going to get all new rigging, replace the stainless steel and just give it a big service, and sort out the annoying clanging from the wires that comes from inside it. So there we go, the mast is off the boat. Now, one of the reasons for getting the mast off the boat is to give me a good access to the foredeck, because I need to take this hardware off, these two cleats, so that I can get ready for putting the windlass on. And this is a life-size picture of the windlass, which is probably going to go about there. So as you can see, those two cleats need to move. That's not exactly where it's going to go, but that's kind of a life-size thing of it, and that takes the chain down roughly where it is at the moment, so that should work out quite nicely. Lovely hot warmish day today, but whether or not I'll get to do that before the frost comes, don't know, because obviously I need to take that off and then fix the holes, and probably wait until the spring, to be quite honest, to do the windlass. Yeah, loads to do to the mast. I'm really looking forward to that. and it's quite it's bizarre actually. The mast is inside in the dry, isn't it? So yeah, we got a few days of good weather. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish all of this, and I don't think it's going to be guaranteed, but I do want to at least get the filler on, get it a coating of epoxy on, because I'm going to use 409. That's not 100% waterproof, but putting one coat of epoxy on, that'll make it waterproof, and then just put a cover coat on. Right, so it's the 25th, I think, 25th of October today, and we've had consistent rain since I put the peel ply on this, so for ages, 20 odd days, and we've now got, according to the forecast, about 3 days of no rain and temperatures from about 14 down to about 8, within that range, so that's okay for epoxy. I've heated the epoxy up inside, and I've got it sitting in the sun inside the little shed. Yeah, that's nicely in the sun and keeping warm. It does make a difference, and it had been by the radiator in the house for the last while. So let's that was just a bit of sticky tape to stop it blowing away. Very sticky tape. So let's get the peel ply off and get on with this. Wonderful. I'm just going to give it a bit of a sanding down around the edges and then get on and start to do some fairing. So I just wanted to rub the edges down, which I did with some sandpaper. Then I actually got an orbital random sander on it. You're going to see a lot of feathering because of what I want to do in terms of matching the colour and so on. And then I wiped it off with acetone using... The key thing about when you clean something with acetone is it's just one wipe, otherwise you're just mixing the dust and the grime into it. So you have to fold the paper over, give it one wipe, fold it over, and then do it again. What I would do if I did this again is I wouldn't lay this up on the boat. I'd do it, and a few people have suggested, very good suggestion, is to actually put all the laminates down, put them all down on a flat surface, and then put the whole thing on, and then it's perfectly lined up. So in retrospect, I would definitely do it that way. Seriously, I could have got a bigger brush, couldn't I? Not sure I've got this tiny little brush. I'm going to use 409 for this, which is a couple of reasons. It's white in colour rather than brown, which is what I've used for the 407. You can't see it where I did the through holes. It's a bit easier to sand. It's not so tough, but it's still very tough. And it's the one that's kind of recommended for above the waterline. What does annoy me slightly though is that West Systems have changed their cups from these lovely blue ones with 20 millilitres stamped on to these little see-through plastic ones. So I'm sure there's no difference, but I just don't like change. You know, if it works, leave it alone. Right. A little bit longer for that, I think. It's obviously a cold day, so it's going to take a little bit longer than it normally would. Right, then the old peanut butter trick. It's slightly weird. I've used tiny bits of 409 before, but not very much. So as I said last time, it's not when you finish, it's when you decide to stop, and I always work it in too much when I'm doing the first coat of this stuff. It's just so tempting to try and get it right first time, but I'm not going to leave it at that. Right, the very next day, and I'm no weather expert, but that looks like it might rain, so I better just get on with this really quickly. Right, second lot of peanut butter. Right, there's also danger of overdoing the second coat, but it's so boring. And I know there's a few sort of lumps sticking out. These can easily be sanded down, but I just have to hope the weather's going to be all right for tomorrow, because that's all I can do today. I've given this another go down. It really needs, there's a few pinholes, there's a few things that need sorting out there. But because of the fact that tomorrow may or may not be rainy, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to put a protective layer of epoxy over that, and then if I can, if it's dry tomorrow, I'll just put a single undercoat on that, and just kind of, unfortunately I'm just going to have to leave this until the spring. It's just the way it is. There's no point in trying to get it perfect and then getting done in by the rain, but hey ho, that's the way it goes. It was worth a try, and the jetstream has now gone all over the place, so goodness knows what's going to happen. But tomorrow might be dry, after tomorrow it's just rain until Christmas. So I'm going to put a coat of epoxy on just to seal it, and I'm actually going to put some of this 501 white pigment on, because eventually it's all going to be sanded off and feathered and done nicely, but probably not till next spring unless we have a dramatic heat wave. And look, I couldn't find a big brush before, now I can only find massive brushes, so I'm just going to put a dollop of this 501 in here. This does not turn this into any sort of gel coat. It's not UV protective. I think it's literally just to give you a guide as you're sanding things, and you don't want to put too much in, as I understand it. And if the weather is kind to me tomorrow, which I'm not expecting it to be, I shall finish this off and just put a layer of undercoat, one single undercoat on it. And when I get back to this, most of that will actually, look, see, it's white, but not very white. As I say, just I think a sanding guide. I should put a coat of undercoat on it and then come back to it next year and get this really sorted. This is going to be feathered out to quite a distance, by the way, so don't worry about these bits around the side. This really going to be kind of feathered because I don't want to repaint it. I've taken people's advice of just get it as good as I can, so I'm going to get the best match I can and then just blend it in, because to be quite honest, when you look along the side of a hull, particularly a hull that's a colour like blue or red or something, it appears different colours anyway, so as long as I do a lot of feathering, should be alright. People could put it down to the light. Well, this is a quality brush. The bristles are coming off already. Rubbish. Don't ever buy it. Oh, what does it say? It doesn't even say what it is. So there we are. I'm either going to leave it like that for the winter because I'm not worried about UV on it. There's a hair there, there's a hair there, there's a hair there, there's a hair there, there's a hair there. Or I'm just going to give it one quick coat tomorrow morning if it's dry and cross my fingers of blue undercoat. Right, so here we go. I'm going to paint this because it's temporary, with pot noodle. By the way, anybody who paints their boat with pot noodle, seriously, you shouldn't have a boat. Yeah, so this is just one coat of undercoat. I've washed this down, got the Emin blush off, and I've sanded it a bit. And there we are, that's just a protective coat, and I shall leave that until whenever the weather says I can do something properly. I don't like leaving something in this position, I must admit, in this condition. It's not very satisfying, but I've got the repair done, I've got it all weather sealed up and so on, and that'll be fine, and then I will have tons of time in the good weather to actually sand that off nicely. Probably all of that coat of paint and the epoxy underneath will be coming off. And that's all right, that's not bad. It does slightly bulge out there. Maybe I'll sand that down. Maybe I'll show you a look at that actually. And anyway, that's it for this month. Just about sailing, just about in October, another one out in October. Guess what I'm going to be finishing off next time. The weather is getting cold, so I do actually need to use my diesel heater now, so I need to get the two inlets sorted out, and actually run it for a full day. I mean, we should get decent cold weather now, so actually I can run it and actually see how much energy it takes, how much fuel it takes in, and how effective it is at keeping the humidity down and the heat up, etc. So that may or may not be the next one, because obviously there's still lots of I want to get the washboards and stuff done, but I think that's going to be the next one. So I shall see you in November. Thanks for watching.